What if I were to suggest that you play a key role in the awakening world? And that you are watching this because you have heard the call. We can start right now by opening our hearts and minds. Welcome to the awakening world.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Awakening World. I'm Love Coach Scott Thomas. I love hosting this show, and I especially enjoy hosting when we have our friends from the International Space Federation with us. I think this is our third or fourth collaboration with them, and they are all about where science and spirituality meet. You know, I think it's an incredible time in our human history because for so long, science and spirituality was polarized. But I think most of us now know that those two are coming together in wonderful, magical ways. And tonight we're going to have some dynamic conversation. We're going to meet a wonderful new friend who's going to make a presentation all about quantum consciousness and serendipity. So let me share with you briefly just a little homeopathic dose of who you're going to be seeing tonight. My co-host tonight is Desiree, and I'm really grateful for that. Diara and Oshar are not with us tonight, and Desiree is co-hosting, and I'm ever so grateful. And also co-hosting is Lee Kempter. And of course, you've seen Lee on this show before. She's a wonderful author. We've had her on Authors That We Love, and also on previous ISF, that stands for International Space Federation shows. And if it's an ISF show, you know that Reverend Jeffrey Colebrook helped to put it together. Yes, he's more than just a cheerleader and a dancer in the Global Peace Tribe pantheon. He also helps to organize these wonderful collaborations with our friends at the ISF. And recently, the last time we did an ISF show, Marshall Lefferts was who we were focusing on, an extraordinary cosmologist who has written a book that has blown everybody's socks off. We talked about that during the last show. And one of our most beloved presenters, she's been on the show quite a bit, is Dr. Kat Lewis. And I have the greatest respect for her. She is doing an amazing job of putting out to the world simple ways to understand the complexity of where science and spirituality meet. And I'm definitely going to encourage everybody to go to her YouTube channel and get her offerings. And then there's the brilliant Nama, who we've also focused on. And again, go to this man's website. It's beautiful. He's created some really beautiful videos. Now, of course, with all this wisdom taking place, we need a little bit of music to kind of help us absorb the wisdom, absorb the knowledge. And we're really, oh, I almost forgot Matt Chin is with us. There you are, Matt. Hello, welcome, Matt. He's a new friend. And oh my God, our featured speaker. This is Ines, and she is who we're going to be focusing much of our attention on tonight, coming to us from Mexico City. And so we're really excited about having Ines with us. I was beginning to talk about music. Omashar is in England. He's with his mom. But Lori Ann Speed is back with us. She's been with us before. Beautiful piano player, also Tatiana Speed's mother, hence the same last name. And we're going to get things off to a wonderful start musically, and having a chat with our friend Kieran Jote. And she's been on the show many, many times now. And we always just enjoy the very high vibration that she takes us into. So, welcome back to the Awakening World. And what's alive in your awakening world, my friend?
Ah, so grateful to be here, Scott. Um, I think what's really alive for me in these days is how do we embody and share the peace and the calm and the love that is the essence of all of us. So if we're looking around in the world and we're not seeing that reflected, how do we go deeper and bring that frequency, bring that essence out and share it with everyone?
I so appreciate that that's what you do, and you do it so beautifully. Um, and you've got a couple of wonderful things that are coming up. Um, Tell us a little bit. I'm going to go to your website, and everybody can find her on her website. It's easy to remember because it's her name. I just put it in the chat box for those of us in the Zoom room. And for those of you who don't know her, I should actually share this. She's, of course, a vocalist. Many of you remember her because she was a member of Copper Women, and very beloved. She's also a teacher of Indian classical music and Kundalini yoga. And she blends kirtan, A Course in Miracles, and years of study in India. And of course, leads healing, call and response singing experiences, and is all about, and I love she calls it revolutionary self-love. Tell us about that. What's revolutionary self-love mean to you?
Well, so it's recognizing who we actually are. Ah, you're playing the video. It's recognizing that we
I was pulling up your website or your YouTube channel.
it's recognizing that we are love, that as a reflection, as a part of divine, that our very essence is love. And so we can sort of drop all of this ego-based, limited ideas of who we are and all this unworthiness and shame and that we carry around, that most of us carry, and we can drop it just knowing that our very essence is love, and nothing can take that away, and nothing that we've ever done or will do can touch it in any way. And so if we start to sort of undo the layers of shame and unworthiness, it's like we are this incredible light underneath, but we've just covered it up with dust and mud of our own creation, and we can let it go and recognize who we are.
Beautiful. You know, sadly, in a lot of Judeo-Christian Islamic teaching, we're taught that self-love is selfish. But in truth, what I've observed is people who have healthy self-love are the people that actually give the most to the world because they're giving from that overflow. And it's the people who don't have healthy self-love that actually are dangerous. Um, and so I really love that you teach self-love. Um, Now I'm going to go to your website. Again, it's her name, Kiranjot, Kiranjot Car, music.com, and then /crowdfund. And tell us, what is the crowdfund for? Tell us about the birth of Holy, this devotional album that you're putting together.
Well, I was so fortunate to be on your show before and share this, and now the album is almost done. So we're still raising a bit more funds to actually finish it. It's been an incredible project. Many musicians you also have had on your show and know have played on it. but it's all of the songs that have come through that are inspired by A Course in Miracles. So that's why it's called Holy. My prayer, my wish is that everyone knows that they are sacred and holy.
You know, I'm talking with Marianne Williamson. She's going to be on the show again sometime this spring. I've got to have you as our musical artist that night because it'd be wonderful to have
Yes,
songs dedicated to Course in Miracles when we've got Marianne with us.
I would
Who's
love
been on the
that.
show. She's usually with us once or twice a year, and she's due, so that'd be great.
Well, should I sing you a song from
I
the
was just going to
album?
ask if you would be willing. That'd be awesome.
This is called Let All Things Be, and it comes from a lesson in Course in Miracles that says, let all things be exactly as they are. And so this is a way of becoming present and stopping ourselves from having judgments about what is, and to just allow things to be, so that from that presence we can actually meet them. And when we're in judgment, we're not able to actually bring our full heart and solution to it. So it's only by actually allowing it to be as it is that we can bring our love and our creativity to see how we could shift it. Let all things be as they are, exactly. Let all things be as they are, exactly. You can sing it with me. Let all things be as they are, exactly. Let all things be as they are, exactly. Returning to love on willing feet. My eyes no strangers see, so joyfully will meet. Remembering the hush of heaven's peace, surrendering to you in trust complete. Let my body and mind be flooded by rivers of peace. Let my body and mind be flooded by rivers of peace. Let my body and mind be flooded by rivers of peace. Let my body and mind be flooded by rivers of peace. Returning to love on willing feet. My eyes no strangers see, so joyfully will meet. Remembering the hush of heaven's peace, surrendering to you in trust complete. Surrendering to you in trust complete. Let me truly see it's only my thoughts that can hurt me. Let me truly see it's only my thoughts that are hurting. Let me truly see it's only my thoughts that can hurt me. Let me truly see it's only my thoughts that are hurting. Returning to love on willing feet. Returning, sing it with me, to love on willing feet. Returning to love on willing feet. My eyes no stranger see, so joyfully will meet. My eyes no stranger see, so joyfully will meet. Remembering the hush of heaven's peace. Remembering the hush of heaven's peace. Surrendering to you in trust complete. Surrendering to you in trust complete. Surrendering to you in trust complete.
I'm going to go to gallery view for a moment. Let's just all send some love and appreciation of that beautiful, beautiful vibration. Such a high vibration that you bring us into. You know, I'm going to read something that, two things that came into the chat box. Connie Baxter Marlowe points out that trust completely. It shifts our vibration into new realities where the laws are expanded and there's more beauty, balance, joy, freedom, and abundance than we can fathom. As Connie says, it's a trust frequency theme song. And she talks a lot about trust frequency on our show. So that's perfect. And Dr. Kat points out that you can measure the effects of chanting by measuring one's own bioenergy field. It becomes stronger and more coherent after chanting. So thank you for raising our vibration. And Karen Jo will be back with us in a little while. Well, I am leaving Reverend, and thank you, Desiree. Thank you so much. I am leaving Reverend Jeffrey up because he's next. And he's going to share with us a little bit about our friends at the International Space Federation and also introduce our co-host, Lee Kempter. But Jeffrey, tell us a little bit about the ISF.
Well, first, I don't know if I can come down to talk after that music. Thank you. Oh, my heavens, my heavens. First of all, it's just, it's expanding this information. And what you're seeing here tonight is an amazing group of people that continue to expand and bring this deep knowledge, the nature of reality, which we haven't had on the planet. We don't know the nature. Scientists can't even find, 94% of it or whatever. So they have no understanding of the nature of reality. And we're all bringing this together. And what a group. I mean, they all came here because each one of them deeply understands, by the way, the nature of reality, because we have studied it in the science, and what was so easy about it for me spiritually was like, well, that's what I was looking for. Does science prove spirituality and all the anomalies and everything? Yes, this does. So there's no difference. It's just whole is only one thing. And we have a wonderful group of people that are going to share how we can go deeper into understanding there is only one thing, even though we have a wonderful individual expression of that. So now Lee, of course, Scott, I couldn't do any of this, put this together without my dear friend Lee Kempter. And I totally in love with her books. So um I and so she's going to be such a great co-host in helping put all this together, because her understanding this even takes it to the future. If you read her books, you can go and understand where we're going in a deep, interesting, semi-fictitious fiction and semi-real way. And it's just an absolute delight and so glad again with her talent, she's come and offered to be our co-host with you, Scott, on this group. Thank you, love you, love you.
Oh, welcome, Lee. It's good to have you back with us.
Thanks so much.
And Lee, I'm going to actually go to a couple of websites just to introduce our audience to the International Space Federation. And of course, Nassim Harriman is kind of a big part of this organization. So everybody who's interested, go to spacefed.com, spacefed.com, and you can explore and learn all about this wonderful organization. And Lee, tell us a little bit more about the group.
Yeah, so Nassim Harriman, a lot of people here I know have even met Nassim, known him because he's been around forever. He had an educational group called the Resonance Foundation, but he's moved in now. He's actually moved literally to Switzerland, and he's looking at how to create craft along with working on papers that will describe better for maybe not the mainstream, because there are some people who are going to hang on to Newtonian physics till the very end. But he's writing papers about the unified field. And so that's what you'll find on the ISF website. What he did for us, the people that are here tonight, for years, he had a foundation that was educational. So we got to learn about the unified field, how to apply it in daily life. We had everything from different courses that we could take, books that people were writing. So that's how we all kind of got together. And as he moved moved literally to Switzerland and more into the work that he's doing now, we just carried forward and stay in touch with each other and work together. So yeah. And then I think there might be another link that Scott, that Jeffrey can give you, because one thing they've done is although their website is very technical, so when you go there, you'll see papers, and a lot of that I wouldn't be able to follow, but they've started a YouTube channel with some of his old material, newer material, to try to get things more for the community of people who love to study the field theory. And that's really what this is all about. It's for people that don't know and are really new to this. He just teaches and writes papers and has studied this since he was a child, literally. And he's also a practitioner. He's a meditator. He sees it from all the different prisms, the field. But what we're looking at is the field of energy inside and all around us. You could think of it as the 99% space that we know we live in. That's just plasma. And he describes it mathematically. And he describes his experience of living in that field and all of the new, we used to think it was wild and crazy stuff, and now it's becoming almost mainstream for us to have these experiences of consciousness, which brings us to tonight's show, because we're going to talk more about consciousness, which he has also spoken about. But Ines, when you meet her, and Matt are going to bring us into consciousness from another way to see it through her serendipity. So
Beautiful. And again, the YouTube channel, I was kind of showing it while you were speaking. If you go to YouTube and put in International Space Federation, and boom, it comes up. And look at all these amazing videos, Science Explained, a lot of segments with ISF members, William Brown, online courses. This is a very elaborate website. And Nassim Harriman is such an extraordinary thought. He's really he's Einsteinian in terms of being that level of forward thinker. So,
Yeah, and he has remained one of those visionaries that, although he understood the science and can write physics with the best of them, I mean, he and Einstein would have a great chat. But at the same time, he was what I call a practitioner. He's actually relating to the field. So he sees the field in daily life. It's not just about becoming a great mathematician or a great physicist. He sees it as the future of our world. And that's why he's so dedicated to try to create technologies from free energy. So that's a big part of what he's into now is to use, instead of having to have carbon-based, these billowing fumes everywhere and smoke, we're just going to be like Jetsons. So I'm cheering him on. I'm ready for the Jetson life.
I grew up on the Jetsons, so I like. We are going to include our audience. We've got a wonderful group of people in the Zoom room, and welcome everybody watching on YouTube and Facebook. And I am going to periodically read comments coming in from our audience members, and then we're going to have a big Q&A panel conversation with all of you later in the show. But a couple of comments. Carol Craig writes, I'm a fan of science and spirituality and how we fit into the field. And she has a picture of her with Nassim from quite a while ago. Charlotte writes, Nassim is also so loving. Beatrice writes, yes, Nassim is based in love. And one other comment that came in that I want to read is, where was it? I saw a good one here that I wanted to, Zach writes, with his theory, Nassim redefined the measure of the radius of the proton by a whopping 4%, putting him at the forefront of deep physics. For this muggle, I don't exactly know what that means, other than it means that he did something pretty cool. Nalia, the science site again is spacefed.com, spacefed.com. And Kathy points out that she learned all about Nassim from Greg Braden. And so, many of these great minds influence each other. And speaking of great minds, it is my pleasure to introduce our next speaker, and it is Dr. Kat Lewis. And I do feel like a muggle when I'm with her, but she does a great job of helping us to understand how science and spirituality come together. She's a functional medicine provider, totally dedicated to the science of consciousness. She's all about integrating modern physics and spirituality with root cause medicine. And she loves helping people understand the true nature of reality, their role in shaping it. Her work empowers individuals to generate vitality from within by aligning with the energetic structure of the universe. And we do this, she teaches us, through coherence and translating complex scientific and spiritual principles into practical tools. And this helps us have lasting mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual well-being. I've taken her course. She's been on the show many times. I strongly encourage you to discover all that Dr. Kat Lewis has to offer. So welcome back to the Awakening World, Kat.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here, especially in support of what you're going to see today. The International Space Federation and Resonant Science Foundation, which Dr. Inez has been a part of, was foundational for my being able to explain what I explain in these classes. So I had an experience years and years ago of turning into white light and feeling like I was space and that all the material world was appearing inside of me. And I wanted to be able to explain that. And they were the ones that helped me put it all together.
Wow. Um, what's since we're here to kind of hear about Inez, tell us a little bit more about your understanding, or maybe a tidbit of what you've gathered from her that's helped you on your journey.
Well, what I feel that she's doing is, in the Vedic science of consciousness, which is called Vedanta, they explain that there's really just one thing here, and it's one thing appearing as many. And what I believe Inez is doing is describing how that one thing, that infinite awareness, is appearing as the physical reality. And that's what I believe she refers to as the boundary condition. And that's where reality emerges, or our reality happens in that boundary condition. So she's uniting, or she's validating what Vedanta has been saying. And Vedanta is 10,000 years old. So it's really beautiful.
Wow. Well, we're going to hear all about it. It's kind of the where we're going, and she's going to be our primary featured speaker, talking about Inez in a little bit. But Kat, tell us a little bit about what you're up to, because I've really enjoyed taking your courses, learning from you. What would you like for our audience to know about your most recent or upcoming offerings?
So I have two groups. One's like the introductory group, and it's a combination of uh, this physics, the science of consciousness, Vedanta, go experientially going into your physical, your what's called the spiritual heart. You can think of the point of singularity within each one of us, and uh, and yeah, is that it? So it's a combination of those, the experience, the science to help you understand what reality actually is, and then the experience of going into the heart, which helps you experience that more and more. So that's oh, and I'm also using the life and teachings of the masters of the Far East as the text for that course. So that's the introductory course. And then after that, what we're learning to do, what I believe humanity is learning to do, is learning how to stabilize in that point, like in the spiritual heart, to stabilize in the I am state, understand who we are as awareness, and more connected to the field. And in that, as we do that, our perception starts to shift, and we start to see just how connected everything is. And it really changes your behavior, and it brings you health on all levels. It brings you health on the mental, emotional, and physical level.
Beautiful. Well, she has a lot going on, and the best thing to do is to go to her link tree. I think you all know now about link tree, and go to linktree / Dr. Kat, Kat Lewis. Linktree / Dr. Kat Lewis. And that's where you can learn and really spend some time there, because she has beautiful courses, beautiful short things where you can learn all about detoxing and herb supplements. Check out her website and take the quiz. How toxic are you? Well, might be a little dangerous to find out, but I'm actually on a cleanse right now. I'm doing the Arise and Shine cleanse. So I'll have to check and see. I'll take the quiz now and see how that goes for me. Thank you, Kat. And of course, Kat will be with us throughout the evening, and especially for our panel conversation. And to introduce our next couple of guests, actually, I'm going to turn it back over to my co-host, Lee Kempter. Welcome back, Lee.
Okay, well, let me start with Marshall Lefferts. He was on the show just maybe last month. So a lot of people here probably have seen Marshall recently, but let me just tell you a little bit about Marshall, because I came across his work when he was, I think you're like the president of Resonance Foundation, like from 2006 to 2019.
That's
Oh,
right.
I can't believe my memory's still there good.
Yeah.
So that was, for people who don't know, when Nassim Harriman had his Resonance Foundation, that was more educational. So Marshall was really instrumental in doing a lot of work with that, and he's also um, talks about the gene keys. He's been involved in a lot of different things, and he's a musician on top of everything else. And so when we talked last month when he was on, it was about harmonics. And so he's created a new journal around harmonics and the whole field of harmonics, how that fits with the overall science that we're talking about right now. And so you might want to say something, Marshall, about, and I know Jeffrey's already raised your book and talked about cosmology, because I think, and any of us that have been involved with the unified field all have buried ourselves in cosmometry, because he writes in a way, it's not a technical book. And you can take little pieces of it, understand different facets of the field. So I highly recommend that book. So that's my hoorah for your book. But tell us just a little bit about what you're doing and why you're here tonight to support in that.
Sure. Well, what I'm focused on now, as you mentioned, is in the oriented around what I call harmonic science. And that is an evolution of many decades of my own exposure to numerous ideas, and um, ultimately coming together in my book, and that is really based on foundationally Nassim's unified physics, and so this long history. I was just thinking as we were sitting here that I probably met Nassim a quarter century ago, in 25 years. Like, wow, is that a quarter century? That always makes it like seem a lot longer. But I really do feel Nassim is the most advanced physicist in the world, and I think he's not recognized as such as that. But his theory is really so profound in how it unifies, the quantum physics and the relativistic physics in such an elegant and beautiful and simple way. And then over the course of my years, and then like you said, being a musician, and what has been always said for a long time is that everything is vibratory in nature, in the universe, from the quantum scale, and then you just fractally scale that on up into our dimension of our framework of perception here. We have a small bandwidth that we perceive within, and then we can extend that bandwidth with our instruments, and wherever we look, we see cycles and we see waves of light and sound, and therefore it stands to reason that just as is the case with music, it's all harmonically organized. And with that understanding comes a huge sort of opening of how do we then continue the inquiry into this nature of the cosmos, the nature of nature itself, our bodies, our biology, our atomic and quantum nature as one unified system. And a huge part of what we're going to be talking about tonight, or hearing about and talking about, is this relationship into what we call consciousness, our direct experience of it, our awareness, that we can say, yes, we have this awareness, we have this ability to know what we know. And it's quite profound, and yet still has been such a mystery as to how does this all tie together. I'm sure there are harmonic dimensions to all of that, and yet to be discovered in my world what they exactly are. But for me, advancing the paradigm of harmonic science, and I think there's a link I saw to a journal that I published in December called Harmonic Science Perspectives, with articles from a number of people, including William Brown, biophysicist with ISF, and some other real pioneers in that field. It's the initial offering for people to get some exposure to this idea about harmonic science, and it's a field that's not yet formalized, and so I'm working towards how to really ultimately formalize it academically and in research. I just had a conversation today with a very high level researcher and professor at Middlesex University in the UK, And these people are involved in this paradigm, but it hasn't been called that yet. Because a lot of instrumentation is resonance based and diagnostic and analytical instrumentation. So it's quite fascinating to be seeing how this, being on the edge of what is unfolding and then how to engender it in the world. So that's the nutshell version of what I'm up to.
Yeah, that's one of the things that impressed me about the journal is because the articles are all very different. Like you said, you got a biologist, quantum biologist, and then you've got somebody talking about water, and you've got people talking about all these different things. And I would imagine when they sat down and looked at it and went, oh, I do have peers. Because sometimes, with these kinds of bodies of work, yeah, you're working on water and how you can use water in certain ways, and somebody else, they're doing something else, but when you bring them all together in a journal like that, number one, I got to tell you, Marshall, I was so excited because all I ever hear is how bad everything is and everything's polluted and nothing's going right. And I got to the journal and said, there's some really smart people out there and they're doing some really creative things. So I think it's a time where we need to pull people together and introduce them. And that's one of the things I appreciate about the journal.
Yeah, thank you for seeing that. I totally agree with you. And that's really a primary impetus of this initiative is because there's so much out there already, and I believe solutions from this unified physics, harmonic science paradigm, really solutions for all the major problems we have for our health and well-being, our mental emotional well-being, environmental and agricultural, and nuclear waste remediation. I'm quite, some of them I'm directly familiar with, and others I've heard about that are already here, these kinds of solutions, let alone creating, free energy technology, 0-point energy, which Nassim is very much oriented on, and gravity control. So yeah, bringing this together and bringing it into the world so that humanity can know we have this option. I call it the harmonic option. This is something that is here, ready for us. It's not abstract. It's very practical, and it will definitely shift everything when we actually choose it.
I want to take people to that website that you're talking about, and thank you, Zach, for putting it into the chat box.
There it is.
It's harmonic-science.org. And people, you can read the premier issue. It's free of charge. I really encourage everybody to check this website out and join, because very much like Lee said, we need positive, good news. And it's important for us to hold the vision for good news, to kind of make up for all the negativity and, all the negative visions of an apocalyptic future. I'm signing up for what Marshall and Lee are creating. I'm signing up for rainbows and unicorns.
There you go.
Instead.
I also want to point out Marshall's book, because it really is extraordinary. And I know Jeffrey, during our panel conversation, will have some things to say about it. But to learn more about this remarkable book, and look at all of our friends like Bruce Lipton and Nassim giving the quotes. I mean, these are all the people that we love. Anyway, the website is Cosmometry. So
it is the only book out there. It is the best book on the planet. If you want to come down and understand it, it's incredible. There's no other book on the planet like it. That's all I got to say.
Jeffrey, your enthusiasm is always contagious.
Thank you.
So the website is Cosmometry. So that's COSMO, Cosmometry, METRY.com. And I encourage everybody to go check out the book and buy it. You can get it on Amazon. Marshall, thank you for being with us again tonight.
My pleasure. Thanks for inviting me. Great to be here, and I'm so happy to be here to support Ines and Matt in their new endeavor.
Absolutely. Well, I'm going to let Lee introduce. We have another wonderful member of the ISF for you to introduce.
Okay, now we get to meet Nama. And some of you probably know Nama because he's been on several times to talk about different aspects of the field theory. So I have to say, Nama's one of my favorite people because he's so down to earth with his understanding of it. Like he has a website, which I know Scott will share with us, but in his website, it's just the way you'd have a conversation with him. It's all very practical to him. It's not all big out there physics and things he has to grapple with. He really gets the spiritual part of it and lives it. And so when I was writing my second book, he got a shout out because I was trying the characters in my book go into the future as Jeffrey mentioned. But when they got to the part where we're talking about gravity control, how do you really get a craft to move through 0 point? I wrote it all up and I went, I gotta send this to Nama just to make sure. So Nama helped me to actually craft a couple of paragraphs in the book. And he obviously did a good job because when people read it, they'll say, wow, that made it seem so simple. It's just, yeah, just putting a field around something. And they were kind of thrown off by how simple it was. And that's what I love about his work. He takes complicated and makes it feel simple. So I'm
Yes.
glad you're here tonight. So I want to hear what brought you to want to support Ines and Matt tonight in the work that they're going to do.
Right. Well, like everyone else here, the unified field theory, especially from the sim, is just it seems like perfection, and it gives you a language to explain what we all feel deep down, because we all feel connected to this field or this universal being. Um, but this work just gives you mechanics on how to understand that. Meaning I've always been understanding it in my own way, in sort of an advanced way compared to other people around me. And you heal a lot. You learn how you're healing yourself. You learn how you connect and you try to heal others. But when I came into the science, it gives another language and it even makes you understand deeper. And Inez specifically, after attending a meeting, Inez made a light bulb go off in me because she really explained, these are hard things to explain, how the center of a proton truly works and the dynamic of it. And if you can imagine at the point of what we all would call formless or the field of energy, getting the concept of how things come into being physical is just probably something we grappled with for human history, right? But Inez explained it in a few sentences and it just clicked that, and it makes sense of how you can go from energy into form through a boundary condition of the proton, and which she'll go in depth talking about tonight. But those little things, understanding something so what seems complex but so deeply, gives you a language to just speak to people from the heart. And because it at some point it just makes sense. Like Marshall was saying, you could see everything is just harmonics and wave patterns interfering with each other. And you can go into a space where all that is unified. So I look forward to Inez even illuminating her work as she went deeper into how consciousness comes about through that.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I know recently we had a conversation with Ines and a group of us, and one of the things that came to my mind is that Nama's a young dad, Ines has children. I look at the parents right now that are in this field, and their children have such, like, your kids are so lucky because they're going to grow up, Ines's kids are going to grow up. We're going to have a whole generation of children that don't grow up with the programming I grew up with.
Mhm.
I mean, if I had tried to bring up something like what we're talking about tonight, oh my gosh, I'd be hit with everything from religious to cultural, like it would have been chaos. That's not true. That's all woo woo and all that. But I love that people at the age of having children now that are coming into these fields and really expanding them, it brings about to me like the whole feeling of our human evolution is involved in this as well.
Yeah. And especially, I mean, when after studying the science, it's the foundation of my work too, meaning it's a bridge to explain what's really going on. I do, for example, 0 point energy heart coherence. Because now, if you understand the field, you understand how to guide people to visualize 0 point energy, and you understand how the biological level is coupled to the smallest quantum level that we could imagine. And also work on the planetary grid, the planetary network. And so understanding the physics and like how does that even work? Why is there a planetary grid and why is it working? How do you communicate through it? You see that it's just fractals at every level of the same dynamic. And so now as kids are being born into this world, I can clearly see that it's not just a thing happening, it's the entire planetary system is becoming coherent just in the same dynamic that the quantum is coherent. It's just forming this coupling of this bridge of coherence all the way up and all the way down. And of course, as people are born on the planet, they embody that connection and that coherence as well. And so there's more information flow, there's more wisdom, more knowledge in the kids. So that's a natural thing that can't be affected from an exterior standpoint, not even politics or whatever's going on. If the quantum core all the way to the Planck scale is causing biology to be coherent, then there's nothing we can do about it. And we're just going along with the flow of it, if that makes sense.
Yeah. It's going to shift and it is, like you're saying, it is shifting our evolution as we speak, which is, it's what we were just talking about with Marshall too. Some of this stuff you can't see it because the noise outside, everything where you look looks bad, so to speak. I'd use the
Mhm.
word, but doesn't look really great. But that's why it's important, I think, to have these conversations and have shows like this where people can come together and say, oh, something really good is going on. And like you said, the field, as we get more coherent with the field, then we're sending out that emanation.
Mhm.
And that's going to make all the difference in the world.
I agree. It's
Um,
beautiful.
Nama, there's a question for you actually, and I'm glad that it was asked. It's from Ayada, and she writes, Nama, I've always remembered that beautiful video you shared with us when you were here the first time, probably a couple of years ago. I've tried to find it on your website, but I guess it was not operative for a while. And now looking again at your website, but I'm not seeing the
Yeah.
video, place to watch it.
So I promise within the next few months, that will be up and other videos will be up. It will be soon, and I will definitely everyone here would know as soon as that happens. But thank you for checking. It it's currently not on YouTube or anything right now. I apologize for that, but it will be shortly.
Yeah, bring it back because I remember it. It was
Yes.
gorgeous. Oh my God, this is amazing.
If anyone could just sign up their email right now on the website, there's just an easy place you put your email.
All right,
You'll
well,
or you
let's
get an
take
email for that.
good timing. So his website is ageof11.com. It's a beautiful website. So scroll down, learn all about truth without distortion, the physics of spirit. And I'm assuming that if we scroll down far enough, we'll find where we can. There it is.
Right
Stay
there.
creative. All right, here's the spot. So we're giving you I'm giving you my email. Hopefully others are going to do the same. And you are going to let
Perfect.
us know when that beautiful video is available.
Perfect. Thank
All
you
right.
guys. I
And everybody,
appreciate
that's age of 11. 11 are the numbers 11. Age of 11.com. And it's a gorgeous website. Do check it out. And Nama, thank you. And I want to know when that new video is back.
Of
Let
course.
us know.
Thank you.
All right. Well, Lee is now going to introduce Matt, who's going to introduce the star of the show. So take it away, Lee.
Oh,
You're muted somehow.
Okay, there you go. So I get to introduce Matt Chin. I met Matt through ISF when he was because this is former, he's now working with the Nest, but he was the ISF community and support manager, which meant that he was pulling together an entire community of physicists and non-physicists who would talk. So, I mean, some people were on Discord getting into the weeds with the physics, and others of us got together and had breakout rooms and talked more about from I call it spirituality level, or the level of physics as far as we could take it. So when he did that, I got to know him, and he has a real, when you call it a passion, he has a passion for both the philosophy, he lives it, he can talk about it, but he's also got this background because he's worked with the ISF. He's done a lot to understand better the technological advances. So when I heard that Ines was going to stay at home instead of moving to Europe with with Nassim, those it was like, that's exciting because I love her work with consciousness. But when I heard Matt was going to join her and like be her support, it was done deal. This thing is going to be awesome. He has a way of bringing communities together. He's also brilliant at being able to pull a community together in a way that it's easy to connect. It's easy to communicate. And so I'm just looking so forward to that. To me, like, they're a dynamic duo. I know there's other people on your team, but I think you two really, really work together from the perspective of community and all this wisdom. And you really need both right now in the world. We can't just have Inez out there with it all in her head. And we can't just be all talking about it. We need to have that bridge between the knowledge and the community. So welcome, Matt. I'm so glad that you're here tonight and everybody gets to meet you finally, and that we get to hear more about what Inez is going to be talking about.
Yeah, thank you so much, Lee. It's so wonderful to be introduced by you. You know, I I know Lee really well. Lee, Jeffrey, Kat, Nama. I mean, these are all the regulars of the ISF. So it was my pleasure to see them week in, week out, and I was always absolutely blown away by how studious they were and their passion to understand Nassim's unified field theory and put it into practice. Um, I've been a longtime fan of Nassim's work, just like most people here. And I was shoulder to shoulder with most people, with Lee, Nama, Kat, for the longest time, just trying to learn the unified field theory, put it into practice, make myself a better person. Um, and I really want to bring up the story of how I came to the ISF because it feels really synchronistic and serendipitous, which is kind of the theme of, and as is my new organization, uh, Serendipia Science, because it came at a point where there was a lot of transitions happening with the RSF, and William Brown, the biophysicist, ended up taking over a lot of the community meetings. And William is so passionate about the community. He's so terrific. He obviously cares so much, but his time is valuable, and he's doing and currently is doing the most important work in biophysics. And if you guys haven't read any of William Brown stuff, I really urge you guys to check it out, because he's doing the most groundbreaking biophysics right now. So I had a talk with him, and I said, is there any way that I can help you so that our community can self-organize? Because your time is so valuable. I want you to be able to focus on what you're doing and changing the world. And we started talking, and I ended up helping develop a Discord server for our community so we can self-organize and talk to each other. And after working with William for a little while, he said, you know what, we're actually starting this new organization called the ISF, the International Space Federation, because of these new groundbreaking things we're discovering in physics. We want to start to apply it to technology. Um, and we really want to have a community manager, and we were going to interview people for a community manager job, but you're kind of doing everything already in that position. So we just kind of want to offer you that position. And I couldn't say no. It was an absolute honor and dream of mine to take that position. And more than anything, I got to spend time with not just the people from the ISF like William Brown and Dr. Inez, but also the wonderful people like Jeffrey Colebrook, who's one of my favorite people of all time, Lee Kempter, Nama, everyone who you know now really well because they're on the show often. You can see how brilliant they are. So it was really synchronistic. I'm so honored and so grateful that I had that opportunity. And when I heard that Inez was not going to move over to the ISF headquarters, it was around the same time when I made that decision myself. And so I reached out to Inez and said, hey, first of all, are you okay? How's everything going? Why aren't you moving over there? And we got to talk. And I realized we had an opportunity to do something because at the very end of our stint there, we were working on um, basically promoting and showing her life's work, which is in line with, but separate from Nassim's unified field theory. And her expertise is on light matter interaction, but she's working for 20 years on the quantum of consciousness. And we really wanted to put that out to the community. So I said, hey, let's continue that work. Let's get your work out there because the world needs to hear about it. And especially right now, just like Scott and everyone's been saying, it seems like there's so much bad things happening in the world. Um, but that's just what's being shown to us. There's a lot of people here who are seekers, and you have to seek out the good, and the good is absolutely there. You just have to search for it. And part of that good is what Inez is doing with the quantum of consciousness, because not only from a philosophical level and a technological level, but this is the foundation of the paradigm shift that's happening. It's understanding that um, we are the technology that we're looking for. It's with us. It is us. It's every single one of you. We are that technology that's going to save our planet and our species. So I am so, so excited and honored to introduce Dr. Inez Urdaneta, one of the most intelligent people I've ever met, not just from a scientific perspective and a spiritual perspective, but human relationships, a multi-dimensional, intelligent, divine woman that I get to introduce. So, uh, yes, please, Inez, join us, and I cannot wait for everyone to hear about her work on the quantum of consciousness.
Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you so much. Well, I'm really excited. I'm really honored. I'm so thankful for all of you guys. I think I want to cry. I probably want to cry. So, well, where should I start? Uh, okay, as Matt already explained, I was working with Nassim. I have been working with the team like for 10 years, maybe a little bit more than that. From all levels. I started very far. I did the whole screening of the foundation from the start, not that far as Marshall, but I don't know, 2014, that's when I knew Nassim's work. And me as a physicist, I was so frustrated. I was like quitting physics. I said, no, this is no longer, doesn't make any sense. Deeper I go into physics, less I understand. This is just not, or is it me or is the theory? I don't know. So then I stumbled upon Nassim's theory and it all made sense. Like the puzzle just started to make sense. And that's what saved me from quitting science, basically, physics. And I remember this conversation with Nassim once that he said, no, you cannot quit physics. This is just because you were not being taught the good physics, but now this is going to change. And that's really what happened during but I should say also that what brought me to Nassim at that time in 2014 was a synchronicity, a serendipity that was very strong, which is that I was doing in parallel with my doctorate, which was with light matter interaction, which was basically electronic transport in nanojunctions in theoretical development, which is really theoretical. And I was at the same time doing something called, at the time I didn't know it was the quantum of consciousness, but I was understanding the logics behind light matter interaction, not from the quantum physics equations perspective, but from the logic behind the logic of the interaction between light and matter. And that brought me to this code. I'll call it a quantum code. And I didn't realize that that code was igniting a huge amount of synchronicities in my life. It was just after that that I was like, it was like an after, a before and after. And it was not that I didn't realize that until years later when I said, "Oh my God, how did I get here?" And then I was, rewinding the movie and I said, "Oh my God, it's the code. The code did this." I mean, it brought me with the theory from Nassim because I was working in this other framework and I got the double torus dynamics from light matter interaction, which is incredible because he gets that same result from relativity equations, which is the opposite scale. I mean, these are two theories that are completely separated, completely divided, not unified, and suddenly we had the same description from both extremes, When I found that on his equations, I was like, wow, someone did this, but how come this is relativity and I'm doing quantum mechanics? So that's when I said, okay, I have to go into this team and see what they're working on. So I got into the holographic solution and I said, wow, this is so brilliant, amazing. And then I got into the team and I worked with them until recently, last year. And I was always trying to see, I see my work as a complement to what Nassim is doing. It really complements because you'll see it in the work. That's a situation that I have when I have to explain this work, is that you have to see it. I mean, you have to really go through the work to see how deep it goes. It is amazing because it connects things from places that you would never guess that they are connected from those places. And it's really tapping into the same question that Nassim was tapping into, which is the nature of reality, of course. But when we speak about reality, we speak basically about all the different states of matter, right? We know everything is plasma, but this plasma is expressing itself in so many layers, in so many layers. So what are those layers? What are those boundary conditions? Why do we require boundary conditions? So we're basically tapping into the nature of the boundary condition. And that's what my work on the quantum of consciousness evolved to be, because it went through many stages. It was the same work, but I started understanding deeper layers of it as I was going into my work, but also more into Nassim's theory. And but most of all, it was interacting with people what made me understand much deeper this work. It was the interaction with all the people that I was encountering during all my work, during all this research, that was enriching my own work. So I would say that this is the result of all these interactions from all these years with so many people, which is let's say converging in this work, which at that time I called it the project of the pupil. It's the eye, the project of the pupil. So that's how it started. And then it's now called quantum of consciousness. In the meantime, it became vacuum fluctuations because I saw that was the connection. And then I said, okay, now it's called quantum of consciousness. And it's really about understanding the nature of the boundary condition, because reality, basically, it's happening at that sweet spot. And you cannot understand wholeness. I mean, this concept of wholeness has it's only approachable through the concept of parts. The part is necessary to have the wholeness. And that's really paradoxical. It's extremely paradoxical, because you would say, no, if everything is one and everything is connected, it's just one thing. Yeah, it is one thing. That is the only thing that one thing does is create boundary conditions. So why so? It's just one thing, but it's the only thing it's doing is it's birthing boundary conditions over and over and over again. Why is it so obsessed with doing that? I mean, it doesn't, so that's very paradoxical, and we see boundary conditions not only physically, because even that can be a little that's the most objective, let's say, boundary condition that we can imagine, but even that there's a level of subjectivity to that, and there's also a level of objectivity to what we consider subjective on any other separation frame that we choose, for instance, saying good or evil or all that. We can say that that's very subjective, but there's a level of objectivity to that. So this complexity that we see around us, where there's things that are that we see think of them as completely objective, but no, there's subjectivity in that. Or things that we say, oh, this is completely subjective. No, no, wait, there's objectivity in that. So how do we tap into that complexity? This is the framework that I'm putting forward is precisely about how to address the complexity that we see all around us, and it grounds incredibly. It's amazing how it grounds the the internal experience and this, or what we would say subjective experience, with the objective reality. It grounded so beautifully that for me that was a very important link that was missing between science and spirituality, because we have incredible theories that have advanced a lot in science, and the unified theory included in that. There's a lot of spiritual work that tap into the inner experience, but they cannot be translated. There's no connection between both, and we know that everything's connected through a flow of information, because that's basically the solution, the holographic solution from Nassim Haramein, this flow of information. But even then, you're seeing that as a mechanistic approach. How does that relate to my inner experience? So that's what the work is about. It's really about understanding the nature of the boundary condition from a very unexpected place, and very simple place, and very direct place also. Very, very straightforward. I mean, one thing that I always happens to me when I talk about it is that let me show it first to you. I have first to show it to you, and then you'll see what I'm talking about. And that's when people just, after they see the work, they say, "Oh my God, this is incredible." I mean, I'm so honored of, I don't know, being able to put this forward, and I hope that this is something that you will find as fulfilling and as mind expanding as I did. I don't know if we can maybe have a pause here at this moment.
Does that feel like a good place for us to pause?
Yeah, it feels like.
Okay, well, first of all, lots of comments, of course, coming into the chat box. I love what Joy brought up was a quote from Nassim that says, "What we believe to be possible defines what we are capable of creating." It's a beautiful, so thank you for putting that in there, Dorina Joy. And Dorina's coming to us all the way from Ecuador, by the way. And I've noticed that we've got people from Argentina, Ecuador, Australia. So it's truly a global audience tuning in. And of course, all the people watching on Facebook and YouTube. So we're going to take a little music break then, and then be back to kind of part 2 of Ines's presentation. And so we're going to go back to our dear friend, Kieran Jote, to provide us with a musical break. And let me find her. There she is. Are you enjoying the conversation?
Just so incredible, Scott. What an amazing community you have quantum fielded into being. Isn't it incredible? Because I'm just so interested, because not only the Course in Miracles talks about this, but this is how we speak about it in scientific terms. And so it's truly fascinating for me to try to understand it with a different language.
Well, I'm really appreciating your being here. And, Thank you, because it's good for us to just break it up with some music to really kind of digest all the wisdom that we are being offered tonight.
Well, here it is. Only love exists.
Oh, perfect. Okay, take it away.
Let every thought be loving, and every breath I breathe. Let every word be a prayer, every act a blessing. Let holiness envelop me, and everything I see. Let forgiveness bloom inside my eyes like fields of white lilies. And all that is, only love exists. And all that is, only love exists. Only love exists. Only love exists. Only love is real. Only love is Let my willingness be given this each day that I arise. Let cool waters find each heart and mind in a world so parched and dry. Take me back to divinity, every step compassion brings. Cracked branches and earth now green with rebirth in the arms of eternal spring. Cracked branches and earth now green with rebirth in the arms of eternal spring. Sing with me. And all that is, only love exists. And all that is, only love exists. Only love exists. Only love exists. Only love is real. Only love is real.
gallery view and send some beautiful love to Karen Jote. Such beautiful, beautiful music, such high vibration, and just the most important message. Connie Baxter Marlowe writes, only love exists. One must resolve what we call the love, not love paradox to really grok that it is all love, even those things that we do not see or that we see as not love. So beautiful. Thank you so much.
It's either a call for love or love.
Exactly. Exactly. I want to remind everybody that you can find all things Karen Jote at her website, Karen Jote Car Music, KIRANJOT, Car, KAUR, music.com. And again, let's go there. Of course, you can find some of her music there, but most of all, let's support her project. I'm going to donate tonight. And I think it's just always wonderful to contribute. And, even if you only contribute $5, it still is wonderful for her to see people were touched and people want to support the birth of holy. Come on, we all want to support the birth of more holy on this planet. And this is one way to do that. So thank you so much for being with us tonight. Right. Well, I think we'll go right back to Ines, who will continue to blow our minds a little bit or expand our consciousness with her wisdom. So take it away, Ines.
Okay. I wanted to share, I was remembering now, for instance, I didn't know that the word serendipia originally comes from India. That was an incredible surprise for me. I don't know if you knew, if anyone knew that, they can raise their hand, because that was for me a total surprise. So it seems that it comes from, there's India, there's Sri Lanka, which is like the tier of India. And that Sri Lanka was called at some point Serendip. So it seems that there's this tale, the tale of the princess of Serendip, and there's this British explorer who went there and he learned about this tale of the princess of Serendip, which were the tale uh, is about how these three princes, which were ruling Serendip at some period, when they had the most difficult problems to solve, they would use serendipity. They would say that's what they would use to solve the problems. So when they were beyond what they can imagine or solve, then they would go into that. I don't know the state, if it was some practice or whatever, but they would use serendipity to solve their problems. So this was the tale of the princess of Serendip, or the princess of Serendip. And so that word became serendipity. And then that came to Spanish serendipia. So I was so touched about by that, because when you see the code, you can see how it is deeply connected to the I Ching and many teachings from Asian traditions. You can see that very, very, very like directly. And so that was very touching for me, because I could never imagine such a coincidence like that deep. Um, there's also something that happens with this work, which is beautiful for me, because I think it encompasses three areas. You may say now, for instance, that UAP phenomena, which is unidentified aerial phenomena, consciousness, and zero-point energy are deeply related, right? There are three different aspects of nature of reality, and they're deeply related. And you would say that the puzzle is completed. It's being completed because you have this being addressed from both perspectives, scientific and the spiritual. And nonetheless, there's this link that's missing, because you still need to translate the internal experience with the subjective experience with the objective reality. in such a way that when you ask, for instance, okay, so what is real, because we give for granted many things, and the boundary condition between what's real and what's not, the boundary, for instance, one incredible important boundary condition for us is between life and death, right? There's a boundary condition. One says, wow, okay, that's one of the most transcendentals for us. Or the birth, when someone comes, when you give birth to a child, that's another boundary condition. The baby was in an environment with a boundary condition, and suddenly you could say that that baby was dead in that universe, but he was reborn in another outer universe. So everything is calling to the same concept of crossing the event horizon, which is one of the films I think Nassim had named his movie, some of his DVDs at some point was crossing the event horizon. So we're always like in this evolution, and I saw myself going through many boundary conditions of that sort, and always being like in the middle, between physics and chemistry, because I did chemistry and I didn't, but then I did physics, and so I'm a chemical physicist. Or between, always between, in the in betweens, and this is kind of the science of the in between. So how do we address the in between? Because the in between is that space where you can transcend, when you can move to another place. And that's evolution. The evolution happening through crossings of the events horizons. So it's really important for us to ground where are we putting those events horizon, because some of them are given like physically, no? But we also know that that's not exactly solid. That's not totally solid. That can be flexible. That can be molded, right? But how is that connected to the boundary conditions that we have on our belief systems and on our emotions as well? Everything is guided by boundary conditions and event horizons. So I think that many of the teachings try to explain to us that what we have is to align all these boundary conditions. And there's also something very important, that there's some kind of a logic behind that could maybe be happening not only as Nassim showed through the teachings of the ancient civilizations, which were all talking about the same thing, the flower of life. But what is the flower of life? It's the intersection. Then again, boundary conditions all over. So that is really important to understand what is the nature of the boundary condition. And that's, I think, what I have been devoted all my life to without knowing. It's been the serendipity of finally, that's why I love this phrase that I used a lot for serendipia, which is the art of finding what you don't know that you were looking for. Because you cannot even imagine that you can go to that place. And that's how I got here. I have, if I had planned, oh, I want to work with a guy named Nassim, I don't think, maybe in another plane, they say that that you're weaving that in another plane, maybe. But in this plane, when I see this realization of this unfolding of the enfolded, I say, what did this come from? So it's the capacity, the ability of getting surprised, of surprising yourself, of saying, "Wow, there's so much more that you cannot even imagine." You cannot even imagine. I mean, that's the problem when you think about evolution. How can I imagine something that I cannot imagine? How can I go beyond what I cannot go beyond, because I cannot imagine that there's more than that? So it's a paradox again. It's a paradox. So that's why at some point you have to say, okay, resonance guides most of the time. I mean, serendipity is another way of saying resonance. It's another way of saying synchronicity, serendipity, synchronicity, resonance. It's another way of saying that they're basically saying the same thing. And another thing that made me think about, because I was a couple of days ago, I was in a conference that was on Thursday, and I was attending a conference on complex systems, and they were talking about criticality. And although this can get a little bit technical, criticality is something that, I'll give an example. It's when you have a phase transition, like when you go from liquid to solid to gas, the phases of matter, for instance, in water, the phase transition happens in a critical point, the critical temperature, a critical point, that's how it's called. And at that point, all faces are and none of them are at the same time. That's a critical point. And so it happens that our heart, if you see our beatings of our heart, you will see that if you see the three patterns, and that's the example they showed. If you see one pattern which is behaving very perfect, you have two patterns that were very perfect and one that was like chaotic, disordered. The heart that was working correctly was the one that was not look it didn't look so synchronized, let's say. It didn't look so harmonious, and yet that was the one who was having the critical behavior, which is where the heart resides in health state. The criticality is an incredibly important aspect of this of the of how boundary conditions create. And so all of that is these are many things that I'm going to go through in the platform that we are making public today, thanks to this event that you're hosting with so much love. And I'm so grateful because then you will see, and maybe I can share some slides to show a couple, 3, 4 slides just to show the platform, the courses. Is that okay?
Yes,
Okay.
please. Yes.
Okay, then let me see if we have the permission to share. Okay. Please let me know if you can see the screen.
We see that you're screen sharing right now.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so okay, this is the preview of the site. So well, you are the technology you have been looking for. Many people have asked me, why are you using the word technology? Because it can be kind of like, oh no, we're more than that. We're so much more than technology. But what I'm trying to say here is that we barely understand what we are. We barely understand our body, our biology. 96% of the universe is dark mass, dark energy. If we really understood what we are, how we really work, imagine what we could achieve. And we are unfortunately competing with transhumanism, which is basically the result of not understanding what we are and how we work. And so then we have this belief that if we use technology, outer technology, and put it in our bodies, then we can transcend our limitations, which is another way of looking at it. But well, there are other ways. And so in this platform I'm having that we're having memberships something similar to what we have with ISF and RSF, and we have the courses as well. And the memberships include, Q&As, breakout group sessions, and things like that. And we will discuss all these topics that you will be introduced through our website. I wouldn't be here, and really need to thank the team that is. Oh my God! Wait, sorry. The team that just formed around this, which is like, wow, where did this all come from? I don't know. They just came like Matthew Chin at first, and all the people that have helped me out around. These are some of the people who are more deeply involved. But this is not just them. The team that just did all this work with the web page, and it's incredible. We were working until very late because it's very challenging with the many things that always happen in the way. And I really want to thank them so much because without them this would not have been possible. And another thing that I found very interesting that I wanted to share is that the evolution of the logos, because I suddenly realized that that I have been in many places, and that somehow there's some evolution of the logos happening here, and you will see it very clearly here in these 4 last logos of my life, and all the people that I would have been interacting with, and so much connection with so many people, which and in this logo in this. It's very funny. I just wanted to share this because this is really interesting. This is when I found the quantum of consciousness in 2004. And this is when I knew about Nassim's work and Jacobo Greenberg's work, which I have always been involved also. And that will be also taught in some courses. And so basically, in the platform, we're doing basically two things: unifying physical reality. So there's a series of courses that will go into the basic concepts of classical, modern, and unified physics. This is the first stage, which is introducing the concepts already, so from my own perspective and my experience on all these topics, so that I can guide the students into the unified physics of Nassim, but from a very particular approach that I think it's really funneling appropriately all the students into that perspective. Then there's modern physics, quantum mechanics, and relativity. But then again, from my perspective, which is already modeling, like putting people on that direction. And then, of course, Nassim Saramein's unified physics. This is all at I would say layman level, but it goes deep into the theory. So that's the say, as I divide it here, there's a boundary condition here, as you can see, and there's this part, which is, okay, let's say this is the left hemisphere, or right, I don't know which one is rational, but anyway, it's unifying physical reality, a journey from classical physics through modern physics and arriving at unified physics. So that's what you have on this side. And on the bottom side, you have unifying physical reality and the psyche. And then you, of course, you have to ask these questions, which are addressed by the quantum of consciousness. Where is the observer? What is an observer? What is the nature of the boundary condition? What is consciousness? What is it made of? Could it be made of quantum of consciousness? So that's three layers, three courses: the quantum of consciousness and the science of serendipity, which is the main course of the platform. And coming soon, UAP and resonant technologies, but that's at the end. First, we go to synergic theory and unified physics from the quantum of consciousness. So that I'm linking, for the people who don't know, synergic theory is a theory from Jacobo Greenberg. Maybe they're familiar with this theory or not. We can go into that in the questions if you want. And UAP and resonant technologies would be like the next stage, no? Because I have been very involved, deeply involved with people from both perspectives, from the perspective of direct experience, which I have had, but not as deep as they have, and scientists from very important universities that are really understanding that 96% of the universe is not explained by our modern theories. So there's people there's collaborations, potential collaborations with other physicists in other universities we're coming together to create this collaboration. And I would also like to add that this platform will also serve as a hub for other scientists that, like, we felt like, okay, we're not on the mainstream approach, but we want to keep doing our physics and our science. So at some point, I hope that this platform will help us fund other physicist research under our collaboration or fundings. So, well, this is the courses that we have at this moment. 4 courses, the ones that I just said. And well, at this moment, I have the basic concepts, modern physics, unified physics, and the science of serendipity. And there's the memberships as well. And if we just to finish, well, this is our site that you can see in the internet, and you can subscribe to our newsletter and well, ask if you have any questions. There's a contact link, and well, that's it. So that's what I wanted to share from the screen. Let me see. Stop share. Well, what else can I say?
Well, it's clearly a little homeopathic dose.
Yeah, I'm sorry. We could go deeper if you want. I
Well,
don't
you
know. I could say, for instance, that vacuum fluctuations, a way of approaching this is like, we know if you are familiar with Nassim's work, you know that at the very beginning when he was working on, let's say, the more homemade version, it was like the PSUs, the Planck spherical units. And those PSUs, which are boundary conditions at the scale of the Planck scale, you could see them as quantum of consciousness, as particles of consciousness. And that's what I'm providing, let's say, that in fact this was going to be an elective in the frame of the theory of the work at ISF, and now it's coming on its own with its own name, Serendipity Science, for some reason, and so it's interesting to see that that also bridges and complements the work that's being done at ISF. So sometimes I like to think about these fluctuations of the quantum field, these quantum vacuum fluctuations, as fluctuations of the quantum of consciousness, fluctuations of the field of consciousness. And I think that we can really say that literally. And those fluctuations are like, well, that's what the work is about. Basically, the quantum of consciousness is exactly talking about from a very different perspective how these fluctuations can be tapped from the angle, an angle that really connects, in my view, physical, let's say physics or physical reality, philosophy, and psychology, because that's also very important, you see. These are three things that have not been connected before. It's like they all talk in their own language, and it's really difficult because even in one area, which is, for instance, philosophy, they don't agree in anything. Every branch of philosophy, it's on their own, and because they don't have a framework from where to connect all the topics. We are lacking a framework. That's what's lacking, the framework. And that's what I think the quantum of consciousness is putting forward, this framework, so that we can really tap into this, connect finally these languages, because at the end, of course, there are also languages, but there must be a pattern behind. There must be a pattern behind the way we think and how the universe works. We all know it's a flow of information, yes, but what is the pattern? So that's one part of the work, and it also taps into another dimension, which I call the political dimension of consciousness, which is something that I do believe it's really important to understand, that there's a deep political dimension in consciousness. It's not that because we have transcended in a deeper layer of consciousness that we can get rid of of political. It's not like that. It's basically the opposite. Deeper you go into that, deeper you understand the political dimension, the truth, or the true political dimension, which is not what we're seeing in this in
That they
this
want.
scenario.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I'm going to read a couple comments. Then I'm going to bring Marshall on because he needs to leave soon.
Okay.
And Zach, I see you've got your hand up, and we'll go to Zach for our first question, and then we're going to take a little music break. But I'm going to bring Marshall up in a moment. So just be prepared, Marshall. And I want to read a couple comments. Cesar, who I believe is coming to us from Argentina, writes, Ines, you are creating a bridge that all humans must use to live the real power of being human.
Mm.
That's a beautiful, beautiful
Wow.
comment.
Thank you. Yeah.
He also writes, I came from history of religions to finally understand by math the whole in a real, easy, simple, and powerful way that now gives me a joyful life. And he's thanking our friend Dr. Kat Lewis, who's been in the chat box having a really good conversation with people about mathematics and physics and training and all that. So thank you, Kat, for carrying on that conversation. And I'm going to bring up Marshall to see, Marshall, what would you like to express or ask after listening to Ines?
First, I want to congratulate you and Matt and the team for this offering. As you said, there's a feeling you get from it, just in this little hit that I have received tonight and this first glimpse into what you've been cultivating. Ines and I spent a number of years in the faculty Q&A conversations around many topics, quite a wide range, and I can feel that your integration of all that has been so deep, personally, um, where there's this direct experience of it, and that is coming through. It's you can really feel it palpably in your the way you express it, but there's a feeling that comes with it, and it's a really profound. I was thinking about a couple of things. This name you've chosen, Serendipia, is that idea at this time in the world. I think is really very profound, and I think there's a powerful call that you have that has led you to well, this is really what summarizes it all, what brings it under one conceptual banner, because when with this deep knowledge technically that you have, and that the colleagues that we've both worked with have come to understand, is so deep and rich and profound, and it's really like the that critical, what did you call it? What's the name of that? The critical
Criticality.
The criticality. We're in that boundary condition right now. And when you think about that in the world, you can feel like we're in that criticality moment of how's this going to go, and so this kind of highlighting, well, that which we see right now is not the end state. It's the criticality moment of the boundary condition and the crossing of the event horizon. And to really embrace the nature of our life experience, which we're not actually encouraged to do in that world, that's the kind of dominating attention of humanity's psyche. Serendipity is not something that's commonly said. Hey, there are many people in our circles who, yes, we do actually embrace that and like to live into that as much as possible, in terms of really bringing that forward and encouraging that dimension of the consciousness, and this quantum nature of consciousness as being such a real, true phenomenon, and that beautiful sense of serendipity, which in some ways we could kind of feel like there's a magic in it. Like you said, maybe it's our higher selves. We figured that out. We made these agreements, and then eventually we get it, here in this experience. And however it's working, I would totally agree, and I really appreciate the beauty of what you're offering from that perspective, that what it can bring into our consciousness about really embracing this power and beauty and grace and magic, so to speak, which when you understand the science ultimately explains the magic, and yet the magic doesn't go away. And that's the beauty of the nature of the universe, is it's very magical no matter what. So I just wanted to really highlight, I really feel that's so important right now to bring into the world. It's like this feeling that comes with it, like I started with, that is it's like a excitement and an upliftment to know that there is a very, both grounded premise scientifically, and a way of peering into it so that we can understand it, and then that inner access to it that comes with that will enable us as a human family to embrace the cosmic serendipity that is already here and is already at play, and it's a matter of consciously choosing it. So beautiful. Thank you so much, all of you. Matt, I see you up there on the screen. Thank you so much for all that you put into it. It's really fun to hear your evolution after a few years of our no longer working in that capacity in Resonance Science Foundation. That's beautiful. Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Yeah, after no longer being in that boundary condition, it's
Yeah, exactly. Birthing the new. We were both doing that.
birthing
So
the new, exactly. It's
that's
also about
beautiful.
embracing the unknown, but from a perspective where like how to say that? Knowing that you don't know, because the problem is that we don't know what we don't know,
Yeah.
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
and we think we know what we know.
Yeah.
So
It's
it
all
can be it
relative.
can get really messy.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, it's thank you,
Wonderful.
Marshall. I really appreciate what you have said, and well, all this process also involves everyone who I worked with during all these
Mm,
years, and
me too.
mainly the community that we were sustaining, because that was like the most important part for me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that
Yeah.
was almost
Beautiful.
7 years of Q&As and every
Yeah.
week
That's
in three
right.
languages. So
That's
yeah.
right.
So that's what I'm
You were
saying, that
doing.
this was the result of many people.
Wow, that's true. Well, it's
Yeah,
really
yeah.
wonderful, and I appreciate the chance to be here for your unveiling of this and to be able to share just little reflections. I do have to jump off in a couple of minutes for
Mm.
an engagement, but
Thank you, Marshall.
thank you
Have a
so much.
wonderful date, a wonderful engagement,
Thank you.
and thanks for being with us. It's always a joy to have you with us.
Thank you so much. Pleasure to be here.
We're going to go to Zach's question, but I want to read a lovely comment from Julia Stoffer. She writes, when I was about 10 or 11, I knew that the world was first constructed of numbers. I just love numbers. Then around age 40, I found a better understanding of words to understand the world. Now I'm 80 and so excited for the number of people who understand the foundation. I'm just a run-of-the-mill person. I enjoy the role of observer. I plan to be here until 2065 so I can see a fuller blooming of the reality Earth is here to see. Beautiful. Absolutely share that vision with you, Julia. All
Beautiful.
right. Zach has his hand up. So I'm going to bring you on, Zach. And what's your question or your thought?
Hi, Inez.
Hi,
Really wonderful to have you here.
I'm
You're
very.
you're bringing expansion.
Mm,
So my question, I think you'll agree with me, um, but I'd like to hear you clarify. We can think about the internal and the external and the boundary condition, but in my understanding, the boundary condition exists everywhere. That everywhere there's the internal and the external. That there isn't a boundary condition between things, but the boundary condition is that sweet spot that exists everywhere.
mhm.
Can you elaborate on that if you have thoughts on that? That it
Um,
exists everywhere. That
yeah, everything. That's exactly yeah, when I was talking that what we see as reality is basically just boundary conditions everywhere. So you could see it, like, for instance, in the matter, things that are like more objective, like ones that but there's all sort of boundary conditions. The ethical ones that one imposes on ourselves, for instance. No, this one, this yes, this no. There's boundary conditions everywhere, like this, and that defines basically everything. No.
Another way I look at it is the reciprocity between mass and energy, or the internal and the external, or yin and yang. You can't have one without the other. So wherever your focus is, there's always that reciprocity between what you could call the internal and the external, or the magnetic and the electrical, or mass and energy. No
Yeah.
matter where you look, that reciprocity between that paradox. So here's another question for you. Do you believe that paradox can be overcome or surpassed, or that we could get past paradox?
No, I think not. I think we go into a other layer, like the onion. You just go into another layer of
Yeah,
paradox.
I
And
don't
it
think we can get past paradox either.
Oh, oh, yeah, and I think it was Christ who said, Jesus, no, who said that he talked in terms of paradojas. The word would be in Spanish paradojas, which is paradoxes. And and those are it's incredible the amount of knowledge that you can have in a paradox. It's overwhelming. It goes beyond metaphor. Like the paradoxical is exactly like binding the internal and the external in such a way that you cannot separate them.
It's the particle wave complementarity. It's not two things, it's two aspects of one thing. So how could there be, at variance? It's not a duality, it's a non-duality because it's two aspects of one thing. I
Yeah,
so
but that what one thing cannot exist without that duality. That's the paradoxical thing. I mean,
right,
that's what I was saying, that, for instance, when you talk the experience of the whole can't happen without the experience of the part,
you're right.
which is incredible, because the holographic solution is literally that. It's telling you that the universe, it's contained in each proton. So you need the holographic unit, which is the
And
proton.
and that's where science and spirituality are best friends. That So I wanted to say one other thing. You were saying it's beyond metaphor, and I think of that as archetype. It's really, we live in an archetypal universe that has this
Mm,
reciprocal, paradoxical nature,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
which
absolutely.
makes your boundary condition, of course, the center of things. Thank you.
Yeah, that was interesting, because I was trying to find the angle that really encompassed all the concept of the observer, the concept of,
Mm.
and that was it, the boundary condition. And suddenly I said, "Oh, how funny! People maybe don't realize that Nassim's theory is what proves that it's correct, is that it can predict where the boundary conditions are happening."
and
And that's
and and
exactly
to
where the
qualify them, to identify them.
yes,
Yeah.
and that's where the main physics is failing, but blatantly. I mean, they think that the size of the electron and the proton has nothing to do with the size of the cell, and that has nothing to do with the size of a galaxy. No way.
They're catching up. They're
They're
catching
catching
up
up.
to you.
They're catching up. Yeah, they are.
Okay.
But
Okay.
yeah, so
Thank
so
you.
Jack, I want to say thank you for coming on and sharing your wisdom and your conversation. I am going to move us on because I think it's time for a little bit of musical interlude. Um, and then we're going to have our full panel conversation. So I'm going to go to Lori Ann Speed, but I want to read one comment from Grace Denise because it's really sweet. She writes, I don't understand the science as you do. But all of this speaks to my universal view, which is founded on the evident reality in my life of serendipity and synchronicity, and the central importance for me in my heart, mind, and soul of resonance, empathy, harmony, and unity. Thank you so much, Ines, and all of the ISF speakers for what you're bringing to this world. Beautifully written, Grace.
beautiful. Thank you.
Well, so we can integrate all of this. I'm so grateful that Lorianne Speed is with us. Her piano is exquisite, and she is a really, really special soul. To tell you a little bit about her, of course, some of you have seen her on the show before, but her music really does give body to emotions that are beyond words. David Wisdom from CBS Stereo wrote, her music is thoughtfully composed and expressively performed. And Colin Limeworth writes, Lorianne Speed is a visionary composer and pianist of our time. Her uniquely channeled contemporary classical music will touch you deeply, and that is true. She's a Vancouver-based contemporary composer pianist and one of the rare female composers in the modern classical world. She's released 8 albums of original compositions that transcend genre, culture, and age. And we're going to show you where you can get her albums. They're beautiful, as you're about to get a little taste of. And sometime in the not too distant future, we'll be featuring the book that she's working on, which is her channeling from Mary Magdalene, which is her masterwork that is currently in the birth canal. So, Lorianne, welcome to the show. And what are some of your thoughts before you play on tonight's topic? What's touched your heart?
Oh, well, first, thank you so much for including me tonight, for inviting me to play. It's just it's like an extraordinary container, this place that you create, Scott, and the frequency is so high. You must be a superhuman after being through so many of these week after week, because it's just incredible energy and extraordinary people. And I love what I'm hearing tonight about this multidisciplinary approach and joining psychology and physics and science and spirituality. And I am a multidisciplinary kind of person, so that makes a lot of sense to me. I've always been interested in where things intersect. Like even when I was doing my undergrad, I was doing a double degree, and so I would use what I was learning on one side and on the other side and do papers that joined, I could find a way that those were interwoven. So I really, really love listening to this work, and especially the enthusiasm and the excitement. So that's really a pleasure. You know what I was thinking, Scott? It would be great if you could have a convention with all your people, and then we could listen for an hour or two of each person's.
Absolutely. We are planning on having a retreat sometime hopefully in the summer, probably here in the Bay Area.
Mm-hmm. And something about my work I want to share, it all intersects in a way. It's all about awakening, isn't it? Transformation and awakening. And, many of you know Tatiana, and after the recent releases of those files of, those who shall not be named, we had a lot of conversations about, the horror of it, and multiple discussions, and came out of those conversations with an even greater commitment to supporting this kind of evolution and transformation in, I said, my work, and I know Tatiana feels the same way, as an antidote to the dark side, whatever, and that it's really activism and it's really rebellion when we just keep standing in our love and standing in this vision of this better world and how we can access the technology here. I love that. So I'm really just inspired by what I've been hearing, and just reaffirms that all my bits and pieces, my little slice that I work with, whether it's one-on-one with clients, or the music, or the books, or the book, or the, workshops, or the meditations I lead, it's all the intention. We all have the same intention, and the light's strong, and I'm here. I really get that. So thank you. That's what I have to say.
It's beautiful. Thank you so much. And
so should I play a piece of music then, do you think?
I think that'd be wonderful.
What I'd like to play is a piece called, it's one of my earliest pieces, and I play it a lot. I really still deeply connect with this piece, and it's called When Angels Meet. And so I want to just dedicate it to all the angels here tonight, and isn't this the synchronicity of that, of who's here.
Oh my God, that's so perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, this is called When Angels Meet.
Wow. I had to go to show some of our angels while you were playing, some of our beautiful angels in the audience. And let's send lots and lots of love and appreciation right now to Lori and Speed. Wow. Wow.
Thank you.
Just I do music all day. And for those of us who want to listen to more Lori Ann Speed, it's easy to her website. It's her name, Lori, LORIANN speed.com. And I encourage everybody right now to definitely pop in your information so she can stay in touch with you. And this is where you can buy her albums. I love this song. She's played it before for us, actually, called Somewhere in Time. It's the title of one of my favorite movies. So, Lorianne is going to be closing out our show tonight. And so that's going to be a lovely way to conclude. So thank you so much, Lorianne, for being with us and bringing such beautiful music and such a beautiful vibration to the show.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for the opportunity to play. Thank you.
I'm going to read I'm going to keep the camera on you so we can watch you get embarrassed as I read some of the beautiful comments that have come in. Ayada writes, Dear Lorianne, that was exquisite. Such powerful medicine for the heart and soul. Thank you. Shoshana writes, talk about music live from the harmonic flowering plasma field. That's a good way to combine tonight's theme with this music. I have a comment if we have time after the panel. Okay, we'll do that, Shoshana. Eleanor Troy writes, exquisite. Christy Michaels, who we're going to hear from in a few minutes, writes, wonderful how Mary Magdalene is watching down over her. Oh, we got to get you two together because Christy is one of our Mary Magdalene aficionados. She does a lot of, you both are very connected to the Magdalene. Susan Blomquist writes, honor and upliftment. Mark Danisovsky, who's an extraordinary musical artist, writes, a gorgeous Steinway B played beautifully. Only a master musical artist would know that. And he says, this transforms us all. Kat writes, softens my boundary condition. Patrice writes, Lori Ann's first few notes sent me floating. Now I'm soaring. Indeed, angels meeting. iPhone, even the iPhone is responding because iPhone writes glorious music, both strong and gentle, sweet and soulful. Thank you. So, and more coming in. Charlotte LaFranc, this is the last one I'm going to read, writes, so intimate yet expansive, tender and transcendent, such exquisite musical beauty. So thank you so much, everybody, for taking the time to share your appreciation for this wonderful artist that we love.
Thank you so much.
And we certainly know where our beloved Tatiana, which side of the which side of the coin she got her musical genes from, that's for sure. Thank you so much. Okay, well, we are now going to have a panel conversation. So I'm going to bring up all of our ISF friends, of course, with Ines. And let me see where everybody is. There's Jeffrey. And here's Nama. Maureen Edwardson, I don't know if you saw the message I sent you, but I'd love to get your feedback. So I'm going to call on you, and probably Connie and Andrew are going to have something to say. Here's Dr. Kat. And here's Matt. And here's co-host Lee. And so let's just start by popcorn style. Any of you that want to offer a thought, a comment, or a question directly to or about what Ines has presented tonight.
I'll go. I mean, I'm so excited. So I can't wait to take the course. I already put it in my cart, and I'm also going to sign up for the year-long membership. I'm really excited about this. I guess I'd like to see what you say about how is this going to affect people's lives.
Oh, I think, well, the code for me was extremely, it catalyzes many serendipia, basically. And I think when people ask me what can they expect from this, I would say expect the unexpected, because I honestly don't know. I mean, okay, apart from of course, apart from a deeper, very grounded, I would say it really feels, maybe because I'm used to that, but for people who had taken that, who I have explained it before, like in the sessions that I gave in the retreats in Mexico, for instance, I gave it the 2 times in these retreats, and what happened was that it was it changed a lot, the anchoring place, you know.
Yes.
They were completely taken to another place, another anchoring space. That for sure. And when you anchor when you're anchoring from a different place, many things rearrange. Your already information field rearranges dramatically. So I would expect. That's why I would say expect the unexpected. I don't. It doesn't necessarily have to be. Maybe things that the unexpected, in my case, not necessarily something that is good or bad. It's just like, wow, where did this come from? Like, and it can have changes that you could feel like, oh, not so comfortable at some moment also,
Mm.
like, yeah, because we're very used to not wanting to change.
Hmm.
We are very used to our comfort zone, to what we are used to knowing and feeling, and that can change also.
So you might say that the effect will be that we'll be comfortable living in the unknown
Yeah.
eventually, eventually,
Eventually, yes.
because we'll
Yes.
understand maybe that that's the ideal place to be.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes, it is exactly in the space of yeah,
In the space of wonder.
of wonder, exactly. There's a phrase I love a lot, which is, not all who wander are lost,
Mm,
you know,
beautiful.
and yeah, I would say that that's part of it.
Yeah, I've heard teachings from Jesus, channelings from Jesus, and he said that you will be comfortable resting in the unknown, living in the unknown.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. And you can think of it as like, the quantum field is like the field of all possibilities. And so I think, when we rest there, when we're comfortable expanding and just relaxing into the field, then things can happen. So I like the double torus, the idea, the imagery of the double torus, and thinking of like an ice skater. When an ice skater spins, when they
Hmm.
bring their arms in, they spin faster.
Yes.
So things can change, but if their arms are out, so meaning we're not living in the unknown, we're kind of thinking about ideas, and then we're in resistance, right? We think we need to know how things are going to happen, then we're kind of living in resistance.
Yeah. Yeah, we're usually used to wanting to control the how to do things. And basically more important is to be like in what is it that you want in the sense of how do you want to feel? No, basically the how is how do you want to feel? And the what is just an excuse for that. Like, okay, but it's just a symbol. But the real important thing is how do you want to feel with respect to things. Like it's not having a house, it's having a home. It's it's not a car. It's willing to to move, to be able to transport yourself. So it's basically more this. It's not staying in the symbol, but in the meaning of that. What does that translates into in your life and your emotions and yeah.
Exciting.
You'll notice that I've brought up three other friends because I just am sure Connie and Andrew will have something to say about the trust frequency. And Maureen wrote something very beautiful in the chat box, and I was wanting to call upon her too. So Ines, meet three new friends of yours, Connie, Andrew, and Maureen.
Hello. You look so familiar to me. I have seen you for sure. Yeah, in the Q&As and for sure. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And it's such a delight to see you again. I kind of lost track of you and I've been missing you. So thank you, Scott, for reconnecting all of us here in the Global Peace Tribe. I was in the very first delegate training in 2009 with Nassim in Joshua Tree, California, and found her, right from the get-go of the Resonant Science Academy. So I've just been so grateful for all that science, especially the conversations between you and us and William. It was just like, oh, it was just like music for my entire field, like, woo! And it just took me into other places and affirmed, all those places within me because the work that I developed is inner resonance technologies as not a scientist, but from a different place of knowing and then studying the science after I developed it, that made so much sense. And it seems that I have a gift because we know for the level of complexity that's built into any particular system, there is a corresponding simplicity of access. And so that's what IRT is, inner resonance technologies, and it activates the quantum superconscious part of each of us in a series. It's a formula of questions that you say yes to that greater part of you that knows everything. And so then you allow, it's a feminine process because then you allow anything and everything that's not serving your greater good to just dissolve in other ways beyond your ability to track or your need to physically process. So it's really elegant. And then once you've even gone through the protocol once, there's a switch, that you get to program on your body, your higher self switch, your super conscious switch that allows the super duper defrag and antiviral program every day of continuously shifting and creating coherence and moving into the next level of our individual and collective potential. So it's really quite lovely. I've been doing this for 36 years and it's still cutting edge. And Connie and Andrew and I have done a lot of collaborative work together, which has been a lot of fun. And so that's all I'll say for now. And thank you, Scott, for inviting me to comment because I'm really excited to say hello, Ines. And Kat, I would love to connect with you. Just very dear to my resonant heart. So to be continued. And I've got your website now, Ines, and I'm going to have a look and connect and participate.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm so happy to see you again.
And Connie and Andrew, is there anything you'd like to share about the trust frequency briefly?
¿Qué?
Que ponga los últimos minutos.
¿Está eso?
Sí.
¿Todavía no terminó?
No.
Bueno, ponelo.
Needs to mute. We're hearing you, so I think that was on Nyla. Andrew, do you want to talk about trust frequency?
Inez, it is so great to see you again. I remember you very, very well from those courses with, everyone from Adam Apollo and William Brown and
oh my God.
Connie and I sat in on, Connie's my wife. We sat in on those for a long time, and you always just completely inspired me. So it's just good to see you again because, yes, you disappeared for a little bit, and here you are. And tonight is the first time I've really understood what a boundary condition is. It was a complete mystery to me. Just, I didn't get it. And nobody ever explained it. You did that tonight. Thank you. It's important. And sitting through Nassim's film, what was it? Seeking the Boundary? No, the Event Horizon film, yeah, which we saw in Sedona. And again, completely mystified. What on earth is found myself on the edge of a black hole trying to see over the edge and see if that might be what that is. So this is I call it the great mystery. And the great mystery is becoming, what's the word? It's sort of like a puzzle that's being solved. And our job here is to solve it. And you're playing this beautiful role of not only solving it, but explaining it to others. I have a bachelor's level in physics, and I never had a great physics teacher. So, it's not easy. So this particular group has become my personal trainer, teacher in this field. I love it. And I'll just say one more thing, and that is on the subject of oneness and multiplicity. There is only one. There's only one thing. And there are a trillion things, and there's no difference.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew. Thank you so much. Yeah, it's funny because talking about the boundary condition, if you see Nassim's work, it's all about black holes, and black holes are just pure boundary condition.
Yeah.
Space inside, space outside, and boundary condition. So it's literal. It's literal that's like the sweet spot.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It's incredible.
Connie, do you want to have something to say, darling?
I would just say thank you for taking people into trusting the unknown.
Yeah.
And I've always said I trust the unknown more than I do. I don't want my little pea brain running the show. I want spirit running it, and that's in the unknown. And so we live that. And we've written this book, The Trust Frequency, 10 Assumptions for a New Paradigm, that takes people into absolute trust of a conscious, loving, abundant universe from indigenous cosmology and quantum science, a synthesis of the two. And it's just great that you're bringing it in the heart into the science, because it's that synthesis of the heart and the science that's going to take us into those new realities. So
Yes.
thank you for all you do, Inez.
Thank you so much, Connie. Thank you so much. And yeah, I totally resonate. I think we need like both sides. It's like the bird needs two wings to fly.
Yeah.
You need like both. Yeah.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much.
There's a wonderful question from Dorina Joy. First, she says, thank you, Ines, and everyone for the mind-opening, heart-expanding, and spirit-uplifting sharings. Question: would your findings apply to NHI or AI? And if yes, how? And I think, NHI, everybody, that's non-human intelligence. We all know what AI is. So yeah, how does your work relate to those rapidly emerging aspects of our reality?
Yeah, totally. I think it does, because it's a framework from which to address basically any topic, yeah. For instance, because basically when we talk about boundary conditions, I would imagine that no matter what other non-human intelligence there is, and by non-human we can also talk about animals. There's not just external non-human, there's many non-human intelligence here as well. Bacteria is a non-human intelligence, cells have non-human intelligence. But they're all characterized by a boundary condition, precisely. Since my work is based on understanding from a very innocent approach, in fact, it's a very primitive and a very primitive and very innocent approach to those topics, and it is so simple, but at the same time so profound. And I do think that I like to call it the KISS method, like keep it simple, like just keep it simple. So in that sense, I think that it does apply for, because it's providing a framework that allows you to tap into um, any topic in my view. Yeah, and I have thought of that, and I'm about to start also a collaboration with precisely one group with this non-human intelligence, which I'm a part of in a project, and another one in AI, precisely in both. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's funny. It's funny. That's not my top AI, for instance. Not really. But I do keep track of that topic because I have been following it like since 10 years at least. And I know that if it wasn't for Nassim's theory, that would have been that AI would kidnap all of physics, because since they have no way of connecting the scales because they don't know how, then you use AI, and they would find that okay, that you can describe many things through artificial intelligence and probably unite the scales through that framework. But the problem is that artificial networks, the boundary condition between um, software and hardware blend, they mix, they're no longer separate. So you cannot really tell what's happening inside an AI. When you have a computer, it's very well separated. You have software, you have hardware. You see, there's a clear separation, boundary condition, very clear. You have AI, they have melted. Now you have software and hardware being almost the same. You cannot tell the difference. And that's a network. That's basically what our neurons do as well. It's software and has hardware at the same time. So we have one theory that can explain that very rigorously, and you have another one which is a black box, and which who knows who's gonna do afterwards. So we have to keep track of that. Anyway.
Well, the evening is flying by, so I want to give each of our people here a chance to offer, a final thought, or a final question, or a final something, because each of you, first of all, thank you for spending the evening with us. And I'll start with you, Lee, as co-host.
Okay. Yeah, I wanted to bring up before we close tonight something that I had a conversation with Ines about lately. A lot of people here probably heard of the boogospheres. Those are these metallic spheres that were first found in Colombia. Now they've been found in other places. And there was speculation they were from someplace else, or were they from here, but on and on. But the piece of it that really touched me, Ines, I wanted you to talk about is that whether this sphere, this metallic sphere that does some pretty unusual things, your perception of it or the way you relate to it as conscious, and what that means to science to find something that they can't figure out what it is, but they can all basically agree that it's conscious and confusing. So anyway, I just thought that this audience would be interested in that.
Yeah, that's a very important topic, because there you have it, that at this moment there's a huge polarization happening in regards to the boogosphere. People who have not been directly involved in the research are claiming all over the place that it's fake, it's not real, it's like maybe man-made or something, which I don't know how that could have been, but I was not totally involved with the research, but having close, and I'm very close to someone who's really close to the research. And this person would say, because I can have my own opinion, and from what I saw, the evidences that were presented to me, it didn't look like it was from here. it didn't I couldn't explain what technology was applied there to levitate, for instance. There was no explanation in physics, normal, our standard physics. So I would like, as a physicist, I'm intrigued by that. I would say, okay, how did this happen? How did this levitate? We know it had to do with spin. That was clear. It probably is maybe 0 point energy or not. I mean, it's a huge mystery around that. But it's a huge polarization as well. A huge polarization. I'm just by saying this, I'm getting into deep trouble because I have to have my stand on it. And the people that are very close to that, I believe in what they're saying. I believe in what they're researching. Um, I'm entitled to my opinion of my own in the sense that I could say that it did feel like that it's not from here. That's my intuition about that. I could be wrong. I don't know. But any case, it raised much more questions and unknowns than knowns. So for me, that belongs to the unknown area, to the unknown, and yeah, it's and people told me that they can have telepathic communication with it, direct telepathy, and yeah. So probably what I would think of that is that it's kind of like an antenna. It's tuning into some probably to if it's not from here, it's non-human intelligence, and it's apparently very antique because of the tests that were done on it on the organics of it. And if that comes from that same period, because of course one has to be critical about that, and then it would come from the younger Dryas period, and then that means that this is something that's been monitoring our species for very long. And yeah, it kind of makes sense. It would be an incredible host to do something like that. But anyway, it's yeah. I I cannot say more than that's what I know about that.
Okay, well, thank you. Yeah, and thank you for the whole evening. This has been really incredible, and I can tell that the chat's been lit up. Everybody has so much excitement about this because I think we're all looking to go deeper into the unknown. I think the people that come on a show like this are the ones that are hungry to play in the unknown. And we've gotten over that initial fear about it. Now it's like, and but let's dive in together. So yeah, so thanks so much for coming on tonight, Inez. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Lee, so much. Thank you. No, thank you, guys. Thank you so much.
Nama, Matthew, Jeffrey, Kat, any final thoughts or questions that you'd like to share?
Well, I'll just add, I feel like we've increased the boundary condition. I know it's scalar, and by bringing this group together, we have just moved into a higher scale of and a whole new boundary condition. And I want to thank everybody here because that's what's happening. It's not just bringing Inez here. It's everyone who's on this path and the curious path, and we're sharing something. Yet we are in our own boundary condition of knowing it, but each of us knows the same thing at a level, and that is the field and what it is, and the honor. I don't even know how I got here, but thank God that my higher power got me here to be part of this. I swear I don't, and it's because we know the field now. I mean, we feel it. We know what it is. So God bless and thank you for coming and accepting. That's all I got.
We love you, Jeffrey. There is a question. So maybe Nama or Matthew, any of you can answer it. It's from Lorianne, and she asks, is synchronicity connected to brain chemistry? Because I notice when I travel, I experience an abundance of synchronicity, which I don't experience at home. And there is a lot of dopamine due to traveling. Is it connected? Any of you want to tackle that?
I would say that yes, when if you're entering into the unknown, which is when you're traveling, so you're going into the unknown, and you're open to, or not judgmental, let's say, more than open, or neutral even, no? Then probably there's this, and it's interesting because dopamine. Okay, I can answer. Yes. Okay, I'm gonna give a serendipitous answer. Most of my work in nanotechnology was with dopamine. For some reason. I always had to work with dopamine. Dopamine absorption in nanosurfaces, in dioxin titanium, titanium dioxide. And and I was having a huge period of extreme serendipities all the time, all the time. And I was working with dopamine. So there you have my answer.
All right.
Yes. It's called serendipity science, and I was working during all this time. The only molecule I was working with was dopamine.
Wow. All right. Well, there's the answer to your question.
There you have it.
So let's find healthy ways to get our dopamine going. Shoshana, is your question for the panel or is it after the panel?
No, it's just part of the conversation in the field, and I'm going to try to be really brief. But I've been having these experiences, I call it like Davic physics. I've been just getting shown all of these things, and it's like about the crescendoing of the wave particle continuum, like right when it goes into matter. And I keep seeing like this whole, I call it the golden toroidal thread, but it's like this amazing mycelium, this Davic angel, like this precursor to matter. And then I saw the physics of water manifesting in just so many different things. But what I wanted to say to what Lorianne said is my experience when I would start to get these downloads is I would feel my brain waves, my brain, I guess, waves speed up, and I would download everything in simultaneously. And then I'd have to like encode it in visions. And this is so personal, but I've been going through this whole thing, and I love what you guys are all up to because I'm going to come to your events and have somebody to talk to about it. And Scott, I put a message together about you in the synchronicity field and the golden toroidal thread of Gaia Earth and your beautiful thing that you're doing, bringing people together and cultivating this resonant, gorgeous thing. And I'm going to send it to you. So it's so perfect, and so grateful for the music and all of this beautiful sharing. So thank you.
Oh, thank you, Shoshana. Thank you.
Thank you.
I want to take people one last time, just a reminder that you've just gotten an itty bitty teeny homeopathic dose of the medicine. So go to serendipiascience.com. Serendipiascience.com. That's Matt and Inez's website. Click there. You can learn all about the science. You can learn about her, learn about quantum consciousness, meet the team, many of whom you've seen tonight, and definitely become a member or explore the courses that she's offering. For those of you that really want to go deep, there's these incredible courses that we can take. Thank you all so much for being with us. We went a little bit later tonight than usual, but it was so fascinating. And each and every one of you could be a full 2-hour program. So we're just going to have to do a retreat and invite all of you to our Global Peace Tribe retreat. We're going to have to make that happen.
I'd like to thank Matt and Inez for bringing this forward because I think it's essential. So thank you. And thank you, Scott, for bringing us together here.
Absolutely. Let's all twinkle Matt and let's twinkle everybody. Let's twinkle everybody. Thank you, you guys. It was really wonderful. Now, for all of our audience, do not leave because we still got some wonderful things left to do tonight. And we're going to start with our Global Peace Tribe announcements, and then we're going to go to prayer time, and then Lorianne is going to send us off to bed with her beautiful music. I'm going to bring up Christy Michaels because she's got something really important that we always support every year. Speaking of Mary Magdalene, so Christy, you've got the floor.
Thank you so much, Scott. This has been so delightful, and it was just so synchronistic that Mary Magdalene's face appeared when Lorianne was playing. and her connection to Magdalene. And so we are launching into the 16th annual Magdalene Moonrise Easter service, because Easter typically is the sunrise service for the masculine. So to honor the divine feminine, we have a moonrise service in the evening. And we will be online this year. So we're making a free offering to all the Global Peace Tribe folks if you want to come through the online portal, which will be through oneworld.earth. And we'll put the, Scott just put the information in the chat. And the Zoom link is there for you to just come in and join us and watch. And then we're going to wrap it up. Patrick McCullen is back from Colombia, where he met with the Koji tribe. So he's going to be sharing what happened and how we need to move forward in the messages from the mother of what he found out, what his connection and his purpose was for going there. But this is basically came about because I had a dream. And Deborah Giusti, who's a co-founder of the Global Peace Tribe, had a dear friend named Jeffrey who had come to my Magdalene events in the past. And he came to me in a dream, and he's a big 6-foot guy. And he came and he's like, Christy, you have to do a live Magdalene service. And I'm like, okay, Jeffrey, but they're so hard to do. They're so labor intensive and whatnot. He said, don't worry about it. Just bring the women who hold sacred space and know how to handle the energy of sacred space to create the field. So where is Scott inviting me to make this announcement? On the Global Peace Tribe that's been we've been talking about the field, right? Well, Magdalene is old at creating the field. She knew how, in fact, physics is in the Gospel of Mary Magdalene. She talks about quantum physics and her experience with it. So anyway, we will be creating the field, and it's a live interactive thing so that you will be anointed, you will be blessed. Deborah's bringing the water from Lourdes in France that she got with Celestine Star, because Celestine Star came to me in a dream last week, and she was so gorgeous. She was so happy. And so she's going to be present in consciousness with us, and we're holding it at the Sonoma gallery of Shiloh Sophia's Divine Feminine artwork. So everywhere your eyes look, you see the face of the Divine Feminine. And it's just going to be glorious. Plus the harp music of Christine Toles. Can you just bring up the website 1 second, Scott?
Yeah, I had it up before while you were talking.
No, that was just the preview of the picture.
No,
That
I
wasn't.
also brought up the website where you're talking.
Oh, sorry.
That's all right.
Yeah, right. There we go. So people coming to make the sacred pilgrimage, because this is fulfilling the prophecy, and you can scroll down, that I tell you truly, wherever the gospel is told, she will be remembered and discussed, because in the Bible it talks about the disciples were so upset that she cracked open that jar of spikenard. And Jesus, I love this line, and I think it's really, you can stop right here for a second, where he says, leave her alone. It's like how we are now at a place where we need sacred masculine to leave her alone. Women have been dealing with so much abuse from men, and so why are you bothering her? She's doing the right thing. She's doing it. So you can continue scrolling down. And the prophecy goes on, but most importantly, it says that wherever the gospel is preached throughout the world, what she has done will also be told in memory of her. And that's what we do, is we are remembering her for what she has done. And we have a great group of very high ritualists and presenters and harpists, and it's just going to be a beautiful thing. So thank you so much, Scott. Appreciate it.
And context for people who don't know, when she was referring, both Celestine and Jeffrey are dear friends of ours that have passed, that are no longer in their body. There they are one more time. And Jeffrey just recently passed. Celestine passed maybe 2 years ago, 3 years
In
ago,
August, just past August.
is when Jeffrey passed.
Yeah.
Yes.
And Celestine a couple of years ago. Yeah. And
So
Celestine was at every one of my Magdalene. She was the high priestess at the Magdalene Moonrise service that I
yeah.
did.
So there's a lot of magic that takes place. Definitely, everybody on Eastern night, definitely tune in online or tune in person for those of you.
Yeah, we're pretty much, I think we're almost sold out. We might have 1 or 2 seats left.
Okay, good to know. Good to know. All right, thank you, Christy. Also, want to just remind everybody that it is time to register for the new season of the Global Peace Tribe. I want to thank a lot of you that are the audience tonight have already registered, and that really means a lot to me. Every time I get a note, I've got the little thing that Constant Contact sends me a note that somebody's registered. A lot of you registered today, which really felt really good to me, and I really appreciate that so very much. And this is it. This is the last edition of our winter season, and our spring season is going to be starting next Wednesday. So definitely important for everybody to register so that you don't miss any of our shows. And in a moment, I'll show you what we've got lined up for Wednesday. Here is in the chat box. Where's our chat box? I lost the chat box for a moment. There we go. So I'm putting the registration link in to everybody that's in our Zoom room. And please do join us. It's going to be a wonderful season. We're going to be coming to you live from the New Living Expo. We've got several shows lined up coming up that are going to take place. And let me show you what's happening on Wednesday night, because you don't want to miss this. So make sure you all register so you are in the Zoom room. For Wednesday night, we are starting our new season with wisdom from 4 very different masters. All 4 of these beings are people I really love and respect, and they're all masterful at what they do. Peter Sterling is a Grammy Award-winning harpist. He is in direct contact with the angelic realm. He's been on the show many times, and he's a fascinating guy. Rihanna Skywalker is an expert at understanding the Mayan calendar, and she's created an exquisite deck of cards that help us to understand what's happening each day. Swami Vyandananda, also known as Steve Bierman, is filled with wit, filled with wisdom. And then Shashi Soluna she comes from the mystical realm. She's very tapped in to the mystical side of things. So it's going to be a really fun evening. Just like tonight, we heard from all sorts of fascinating scientific, spiritual people. Well, on Wednesday night, you're going to get a chance to hear from 4 more fascinating people from different disciplines. So please make sure you register. Do it right now. Those of you in the Zoom room, you got the link. Do it right now so that you don't miss any of our programs. And for those of you who have registered, again, thank you so much. It's important. It is expensive for me to do this show. I've got to pay for Constant Contact and websites and all the stuff. And so your support is really appreciated. All right, we are going to go to prayer time with our beloved Desiree. And maybe our first prayer will be for Diara, who's dealing with some back issues. Take it away, Desiree.
Thank you, Scott. Oh, and blessings to each and every single one of you here today and those watching. Going ahead and taking a nice big breath in through the nose, out through the mouth. I ask for healing for those that need their bodies healed. I ask for healing for those who need their mind healed. Ask for healing for those who need their spirit healed. And their spiritual heart healed. Gratitude for the advancement in physics. The advancement of the mind. And the codes, the frequencies, and the clues that those higher beings give us. Thank you.
So go to gallery view and have 2 minutes of silence while we all send prayers to our loved ones. I see Bonnie Russell is there, and I always want to send maximum grace to our beloved Bonnie and Roger in spirit, who I'm sure in spirit is with us. And maximum grace to Diara. Maximum grace to all beings everywhere who are suffering. May their loads be lightened. Maximum grace to Omashar, who's in England with his ailing mother. And I know that today he was with her. Maximum grace to Jay Mayer up in heaven and his beloved Jan Kaplan, who's having to manage a lot of affairs with his passage. And thank you to each and every one of you for all the ways you show up in service to our world. Much love to each and every one of you. Thank you again to all of our presenters, especially Ines. And of course, thank you, Lee, for being my co-host, Jeffrey for making it happen, Matthew for all that you've done to make this happen. And much love to each and every one of you. And we're going to conclude with some beautiful music from Laurie Hanspeed.
This is called Aria of Love. And I feel like it's appropriate for now because it's a little bit like a lullaby. Maybe we can just go softly into the night with it. Sound good, Scott?
That's wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you. That was Aria of Love.
That is so beautiful, so beautiful. One thing I want to mention to everybody, you can also get her music on Bandcamp. If you go to lori-andspeed.bandcamp.com, accept the cookies, and that's where her recordings are. And that's a wonderful way to get this exquisite music of Lori-Ann. And I sure hope, Lori-Ann, you'll become one of our regular contributors, because you bring so much beauty and so much high vibration to us.
Thank you so much, Scott. I'm honored. I feel it's a privilege to play my music, and really be an honor to be here again. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Beautiful evening.
There's a couple more comments that I gotta read for you. Dear Therese writes, there exists no boundary condition with these notes from the angels played by you, Lori-Ann. Lee writes, Lori-Ann's exquisite music is the perfect ending to a perfect evening with you all. Thank you. And thank you, Lee. Kathy, Kieran S., Carol, Ayada, Maureen, and Eleanor Joy all have put in beautiful comments for you, Lori-Ann. So make sure you save the chat so you can read all of those comments that have come in with appreciation for you.
Oh, that's a good reminder. I would love to save the chat. I'll do that. Thank you.
Okay.
It means a lot to me. Thank you, everyone, for those comments. Thank you.
Absolutely. And a reminder, if any of you ever want the chat, I do always save the chat. And so you can send me a message, and I'll send you the chat if any of you need. I know Karen S., I've sometimes sent the chat to her. All right. Take care, everybody. Thank you, Lori-Ann. Thank you, dear friends. Dr. Kat, I know you're going to have a wonderful pair of programs tomorrow with your friends. And I will look forward to seeing all of you on Wednesday. Don't be a fool on April Fool's Day. Make sure you're with us in the Zoom room for Swami Beyond Ananda and many more. Good night, everybody. Have a beautiful weekend.
Thanks, Scott.